So here are the two things that I'm going to raise as sort of the black holes of music research. One is timbre, and the other is surprise or expectation. Both of which are sort of fundamental, certainly in the world of Western music listening. Both aspects of music are fundamental to the purpose of making music. We are concerned with sound and sound quality, and we're concerned certainly as performers and composers with manipulating expectations of the listener. And yet, with all the research that has been done in music, we have no measurable units to talk about these things. We have nothing that says the difference between these two sounds is this much, or this sound is closer to this sound than this sound. We have nothing to really measure expectation and surprise. We don't even have a proper set of jargon about it. And so a lot of the work that Dan and I and others have been doing are really sort of dancing around these two topics in many ways. So just to give a quick perspective, and here my apologies to Dan's class. This is perhaps the earliest evidence of music making. It's a controversial piece of paleontology. It was a femur bone that was found in Slovenia a number of years back. It was carbon dated to something between 45 and 60,000 years old. What's interesting about the femur bone is that it has what seems to be very carefully cut circles. And in fact, there's another piece of a circle here and one here. And if one reconstructs this and does a computational physical model of it and plays and blows air through it, or blows noise through it, and fingers these four holes, a diatonic tetrachord, that is the first four adjacent notes of a major scale will appear. What that says, I'm not sure. So, a quick overview of evolution. So here are our non-scientist view of sort of the basic issues of adaptation. Promote procreation, promote collective interaction, sharpen skills, that is sharpen the sense of response to threat and opportunity, and sharpen fine motor skills. I'm sure that this has been raised at some point earlier in the day, and I'm sorry it wasn't there today. But Steve Pinker talks about music as being non-adaptive at all. So he raised the concept of music being auditory cheesecake with the idea that music serves no evolutionary purpose whatsoever. So is there a survival issue for music? Well, if we look at music in currently, or at least Western music currently, it's pretty dubious that one can say that music serves a purpose for survival, whether it's nirvana or the role of artists in the world. Darwin, of course, did think of music as being an adaptation for procreation, and he like Pinker, called music auditory cheesecake. Darwin equated music with a peacock's fate. So what is our evidence of music and sexual selection? Well, there's tons of it. The two that I'll point out to here is that A, music seems to be incredibly important cross-culturally to adolescence and around the height of sexual activity. There's a recent find by a biologist who studied the Borneo tree frog. The Borneo tree frog has this incredibly interesting behavior. The male Borneo tree frog goes out and finds a hollowed stump of a tree with a little puddle. It will go into that stump and play around a little bit and experiment with the puddle, and then it'll croak. It'll listen to the croak, and then it will change its pitch until the croak resonates, until it finds the resonant frequency of that stump. It finds the eigene frequency of its stump. It's similar, this is an exercise that I do with my class every year. I have them go into their showers and think about the singing that they do in the shower, and we do some measurements, and they realize that their singing generally gravitates towards the eigene value, the eigene frequency of the shower, because they sound better in the shower. Similarly, the Borneo tree frog finds the alpha male finds its perfect sound in its little resonant space. This concept of serenading seems to be one that has a biological basis. Music as group behavior needs no real deep discussion. I will, however, just play a short bit of a clip of a remarkable song. Those of you who are following the events in the Ukraine a few years back might have heard this. This was the song that, it's literally a song that brought down the government. So let me propose one more possible adaptive theory here, and this is where I think I'll zoom into issues of expectation and then let Dan take over. So Marvin Minsky wrote a wonderful paper about 25 years ago asking the simple question of why is it that we listen to Beethoven's Fifth again and again and again and again, and if you count the number of da-da-da-das, it's in the thousands. And it seems to be a rather silly endeavor, right? And so Minsky says we play with sound the way children play with blocks. Children play with blocks to learn about space, and we play with sound to learn about time.